Hello, hello, hello! We are back with the Minecraft world. I'm actually having to re-record this because, well, I forgot to turn on my audio. And my desktop audio is not recording for Minecraft at all, so there's life. We'll go through this in Spectator since it's a little bit easier, so we're starting. This is my new base. That's where the initial base was built, way over there, where that outlook is. And I was actually farming a fair bit of stuff down here, and this is where I've been building stuff up until I've actually can put it into its own separate farm. So we have pumpkins, cactus, and the tree farm. As you can tell, I've been getting a lot of spruce. We have the rail system down below, which I will show you in just a little while. We have two massive kelp farms, which power all my furnaces. Hello, creeper. You're not supposed to be there. There's a lot of creepers everywhere. This is where I've been actually getting a lot of the stuff to breed these two creatures. I'm going to need more time to actually get them bred and put them into their own separate areas. Down below, safely away from the creepers, I actually have my switch to turn on the kelp farm, as well as the furnaces that build up, smelt down all the kelps and turn them into kelp blocks. Currently turned off because I don't really need it turned on. Because, well, if I were running it 24/7, I'd soon run out of space. We have, count them, 8 separate AFK fishing area, which actually need to be closed off so I don't get raided by random pillagers. Considering this world was actually started in 13.2 before the announcement of actually 14. The announcement of 14 had just come out, but we had no clue about the raids or the pillagers or the traveling band, so I never needed a door here. Now I'm going to have to add a door just to keep stuff away. As you can tell, compared to my old world, the fences are actually different. I did it more because just to give something different versus I wasn't sure, not sure if it would be any better, but that's what life is. Going down into the main area from my porch, there's a small ramp to get up to the porch, and well, I'll shut that off since there's so many creepers out there. We have my bedroom and a small potion stand. This is all going to get rebuilt and redone later. I'm not sure when. This is an enchanting area. This is where I use all my anvils. They're just a stack. And then if I ever run them out, ruin an anvil, I just, well, another one falls into place. I'll show this off in a little bit. That's pretty cool. And then this is why I said my sword system from the previous video or earlier in the stream is actually small. It is a massive 5-story storage area. Top floor being my balcony, as you can tell. And actually, right up here, this top floor was originally where I built the base. Everything else down below here has been dug out. So this was where the original base was. It probably was about yay tall. And then it started digging down deeper and deeper and building up this huge area. Going down in layers, this is where all the food is. Not all of these chests are filled, but I'm actually going to be building a giant cathedral-style roof. So that's pretty fun. Now, across this area used to be several bridges that were angled down that allowed you to get slowly lower. But now, thanks to 14, we now have scaffolding, which lets us get up and down very easily. This layer has 2 sections. You have your plants, trees, and whatnot. And then you have all the access to the major storage, cobblestone, the furnaces, their power source, and that's a little bit of extra storage. This area is all the stonework, so minerals and whatnot. Mostly minerals and whatnot. There's a few down below, like the sand that did not get into the storage. But I have a huge storage system, as you can tell, just for this area. And actually, it's really not that big by comparison. This is the super furnace that I have. It's not the most powerful one you could ever build, but it works decently enough for what I have. Down below is, well, a lot of the build items. And then our mob drops, and as you can tell, I've taken on quite a few pillagers and took on a few raids. The raids are actually not that hard since they fixed the bug. And I upgraded this world from 13.2 to 14.3. So I avoided all the major trouble. Down here is below is most of the stuff that hasn't yet found a home. So like I have yet to know grass or the dyes, and then this is just a junk chest. And over here is actually where I'm starting to store up armor and whatnot, books. Right here is actually, as you probably can tell, is a storage area for my mine. The mine is much bigger than the one from before. So we'll see down there real quickly, or soon here. And what this does is it actually turns off the power for the rails, and then drains the hopper, or the minecart chest, and drops them all into these chests over here and over there, which means I never have to leave the mine unless if I'm out of redstone, or unless if I'm out of torches or whatnot. Going down into the mine itself, we reach into the second biggest area, at least in the main base. There's actually much bigger areas that I've worked on. And right here you can see the massiveness that is my mine. It is huge. It actually covers several different slime chunks too. And it is kind of just built to be exceptionally large. Everything's patterned out and set up so I never get any spawns outside, well, slimes. And, well, as you can see, it goes quite a fair bit in each direction. And will continue to grow, and it might actually get a few layers higher. I'm not sure if it will yet, but it might. And as you can tell, the height stops actually at 26. There is no real reason, but it does have the full height for allowance for to capture all the diamonds outside a lower level, which is, well, below 11. But at any time you go below 11, you immediately run the risk of running into, well, lava. And that's running into versus actually pathing over it. Turn off that. I use both the magma blocks and soul sand to get up and down. And these are the carts that I can send them up full of items, and they will actually return once they are empty. So that cart, in a little while, will return. As you can tell, I have tons of torches ready. That way, if I want to do a long mining session, which is this place is designed for, I don't need to worry or stop. And as you can see, the cart came back down. Admittedly, that's because it was empty, so you kind of expect it to come back down. Going back up to the main base, we are going over to the Nether next. Considering where that was my first major oh, no, not the Nether next. As you can see, I've been to the Nether. I need to actually build a farm for that. My Nether wart is just sitting there doing nothing. What we come down here is actually, we see where I've built 3 huge spawn kills areas. These are actually where I allowed myself to cheat. I allowed myself 2 major forms of cheating. I allowed myself the ability to harvest the spawners, which was really just give command or / give spawner and then / give mob egg of whatever the type was. And then I reposition them and place them, and then I control basically their spawns by turning them on and off. And yep, I'm on normal. We get drops, they go down below, and then sooner or later they come here, drop down, and then I can harvest all of their drops. Skeletons have the useful fact of, well, they drop a lot of bones and arrows. Now, mind you, this is real slow. They haven't powered up fully. Here they go. And because of how many spawners there are, well, you can get a lot of spawns. And they just slowly push each other forward. So all of them go up. I could actually put ice there, and it would actually make it a lot easier. I might do that later. but I'll probably do that when I actually do a major adjustment on my world itself. Yep, I'm not getting any sound from the world for some reason. Oh well, that is life, sadly. Anyway, I'll show the other two major areas. Wrong direction. This way. This is where I've done cave spiders and normal spider spawners. So, yeah. One thing you'll notice that when we get over to different areas down the railroad, it's that there's actually quite a lot of abandoned mine shafts. And that's because I set up this world with tons of spawners, like max amount you're allowed to spawn in. So, yeah. Now, down below here, we actually see one of the things that I'm going to be changing is this is actually designed so I could kill the spiders myself, get all their spawn eggs, get all the string, or not spawn eggs, all the spider eyes, and get all their string. But really, I don't need it. I just need the string. So I'm going to be rebuilding this entire spawn kill area to just kill the spiders, and I can get all their string. I built a few parts into this, and I can fix that later. I built a few areas into this where the entire area is basically built to keep the spiders. It originally was much taller, but because of that, I could not actually perfectly cut off the spider farm with lights. I actually had to drop the roof lower. That way they would stop spawning even when the lights are turned on. The final area is zombies. Not much to say about it. But they get... Now, zombies actually have one useful drop about them, is that you can get actually gold, diamonds, and iron gear, which then you can smelt down in the furnaces to give yourselves a bunch of little ingots, or nuggets, I should say. But I mostly use them for XP and then that tiny little bit of iron and gold. I don't need the gold because we're about to see one of my biggest projects and the second major source achievement, which is this. Going straight up, you can see I completely blew through the bedrock, which you actually can remove with pistons and TNT, but I did not have the patience nor want to learn how to do that currently. I will probably learn how to do it later, I just didn't want to right now. Anyway, going up the massive staircase, which really is kind of annoying, because you can't use water in the nether. We reach the first layer, which is my massive, again, probably a strong word, storage system. This collects all the rotten flesh and gold nuggets from the farm up top. And actually, while I was gone and stuck in Houston, just outside Houston, this farm was loaded the entire time. It nearly completely filled up. It was filled up to about here. And that means both this side and that side were actually completely full. So I had plenty of gold to work with for a long while. Going up higher, this is the farm itself. It is a giant pigment farm. Now, this ain't a lot of the stuff like you see on server worlds, which are XP and gold farms. This is entirely for gold. I don't need the XP. As you can tell, I have 2 or 3 spawn areas which work a lot better for gold or for XP. But it does work great for just earning up a ton of gold. And you can earn up several stacks of blocks per night. It basically works as they spawn here. There's a giant tripwire, which then pushes them out and sends them down, and they drop to fall damage, or die to fall damage. Meanwhile, I just stay over here, cocooned up in this area, just in case something spawns in a near unspawnable location. Is it perfect? No. But it does do very well for what I need to, and it is expandable, so I can actually make this much bigger. Boing. Slime. Just for safe landing and quick escape. This is actually probably going to be dropped as well as this portal. That way I don't have to worry about that way I can line it up better, basically. Anyway, let's see. We've talked about all that. We've talked about all that. We've talked about that. Let's go and take a look at the rail system. Now, the rail carts are not all here right now. As you can tell, there's actually 4 lines that travel this entire area. And they're all, at least here, controlled by a button press. Now, the rail lines actually have 2 passengers, which I only use one as passenger, that's for me. And then it has 2 transport rails. The transport rails are because a lot of the areas I'm farming in, and we actually can see the inside of the rail system from what we saw earlier. What I'm transporting is this from huge farms or from desert mining areas or whatnot, so I need to be able to transport all the items at one given time, rather than just, yeah, that's annoying. Oh, yeah, there't what I mean. That's gold and whatnot. That was probably from the skeletons. Anyway, what I was saying is, with the fact that I'm building such big projects and everything is increasingly far away, I need an area or a way to transport all the items at once, rather than just my own inventory. And as I get to the end, which I plan to, and I plan on getting tons of shulker boxes as well, to transport even more items, until that happens, I'm stuck with basically 4 minecart chests and myself as, oh, we just froze for a few seconds there. This minecart chest and a few items to get everything around. Now, does this mean it's by any means slow or that I'm ever lacking space? Once or twice I will run into that problem when I'm transporting a lot of items, but I don't have any chests set up where I'm about to start working. So I will run into a point of, oh, I need more space, so I have to run back and actually make a trip or two. But for now, it works for the most part. These are going to be the longest trips. The shortest one is actually longer than my is actually longer than any of the air trips, with the exception of my the bone farm to the port on my last world. And you'll see that short one real quickly, but it's just easier to go this way first than it is the other way around. Next here, I actually need to remove both of those because they're actually bumping into and blocking minecarts. This is the sand farm. It is designed with one thing in mind, getting me tons of sand and, I forget what the other thing is, sandstone. I've already started and have mined out a fairly decent area. Because it's not a server world, I don't need as much sand as a really massive desert. And if I really need more sand, there's another desert just right on the other side of this forest. And what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to have carts that can actually travel back to those locations, therefore allowing me to just keep on mining and sending stuff back and back and back and back. I've already raided that temple, nothing much there to say. As you can tell, this is the first area I really built that was in 14.2 or 14.3 when I updated the world. It's not great, and I need to redo some of it. That way I can actually have these powered rails power up when I hit a button. Otherwise, it's just going off of that. But it's basically a bunch of little houses and a small storage area. That way I can actually get tons of items. And as you can see, I haven't exactly, Oh, there's my tridents. Not sure why I left them there. This is stuff I need to clean up when I eventually start moving, all my stuff and continue on. Because this is one of the worlds where I used all my data, and I allowed myself to use the world seed to predict where I wanted to build stuff. And that way, a couple thousand, well, not a couple thousand blocks, about 1,000 or so, is one of the hello bunny, is one of the pillager outposts. So that's where this is going to go, and then from there it's going to go to a mesa. As you can see, I need to remove that. And then it's going to go from there to one of the Minecraft mansions, woodland mansions. That's going to be fun to build too. And that's going to be 1,000+ blocks worth of track that needs to be laid. Because this is just one rail, it's 4 rails, all built together. And while the top structure is pretty easy to build, the bottom structure, or the support structure, I've yet to build in this one. And that is pretty labor intensive because of just how complex it is. It looks really cool, but it's just so labor intensive. Anyway, fun trip back to the base. One of the things, if anyone has seen any of my pictures from DA or DeviantArt, you'll actually notice that this rail system has actually been completely redone once. Originally, this area right here used to be solid dark oak, and right here used to be every few blocks was a torch with a brick block under it, rather than what it is now. This way, I did this actually not long after I got to finished my Guardian farm. I did it mostly because then this will stop spawns on top of the rail network. And it still keeps it up lit enough, because that was a problem I was running into when I was working at the Guardian farm, is I kept on getting spawns on top of my rail line, which was annoying to no end. Because the rail line, once we get to the Guardian farm, is actually outside the reach of the my mind is blank. Outside the reach of the Ocean Temple. So it can always have spawns on top of it. But, as I said, I've completely redid it, which redid that. And this area actually got redone because the original station used to be right in there, but because I wanted to go off into the sand place and then to the desert and then to a few other locations over there, I ended up having to redo it. Now, these two lines actually run counterintuitively to what I'm calling. This is the southeast line, even though we're going north. For those who are looking, facing north. Now, this is the southeast line. That one is the southeast. That one is the northwest line, even though they go in the opposite directions of what you think. It's because initially they actually go towards a different location. This was built first, this line, which goes to what was the slime farm and the iron farm. The iron farm's been removed since the update, and is actually going to be rebuilt. So it goes this way, and then it actually turns south and heads south, and it's going to continue going southwest. Whereas the other one's going to turn north and then go northeast, all the way to the place. Anyway, this is the most massive storage area I've ever built yet, and is actually been completely renovated recently. This was the original area that was built right here. It is a giant 5-chunk slime farm. It takes all the slime, focuses it down here, and then kills them off and harvests them and puts them in the storage area. The storage area is actually in the place of what used to be a 3-tier tall iron farm. 3 layers of iron. They would both store up and then come over here and be stored in what used to be the old base. It's been removed. This is going to be completely redone, and I'm nowhere near finished. I also have to completely redo the station, because as you can tell, the station is actually off-center from the rest of the area. I noticed it, and I'm like, oh, that is so annoying. So I actually have to move the whole thing, which is actually going to cause all the glass blocks, and all the top layer, and the bottom layer, and the support rods to get replaced and moved over. But that's a project for a different day, and today is just the project of the tour. So yeah, the iron farm used to be here. I no longer have an iron farm currently. I'm going to replace it. I just never got around to it yet. I started the tour, so yeah. Anyway, this giant glass and slime sphere, or cube, is actually where all the slime is stored. It goes up those water elevators and then brought down here. But inside this thing, and I have a feeling YouTube's going to hate me for doing this, is nothing but a giant storage area filled with chests, hoppers galore. To give the idea of the storage capability of this, and this is not by far the biggest slime or storage system I've ever seen, though it's the biggest one I've ever built, this can hold over 8 million slime balls. Yep, 8 million. Over 8 million. Which translates down to about a little over 900,000 slime blocks. It is a massive system. And it's not even complete yet. Well, the storage system is, but the slime area is by no means done. I actually have to add in a roof, that way other mobs don't fall in here and therefore their spawns get trapped in this system. I also then need to add iron golems right about here, that way I can attract all the slimes away from their slime platforms and into the killing area. Otherwise, well, as you can see, the slimes don't exactly go towards this place. And this was my most recent project that I've been rebuilding. And as you can tell, we are really close to bedrock. And touching bedrock at points. The area transports, grabs all the items up, sends them down, cramps them down, and up and away they go into the storage area. Now we get to go to the next area, which is actually really far away. It's the farthest that we're going to travel in this world currently. And that is to my Guardian Farm. Now, I have two ways of reaching my Guardian Farm right now. I have another tunnel, which really shortens the trip. And then I have this area, or the rail line, which is the longest one so far. And I believe it's getting close to 1,000 block long. At least in this direction. It travels a fair distance. I came across a jungle biome, which will be off to our left. There's an iceberg biome off to my right. There's a wrecks all over the place. Where I got the bamboo for my initial, when I initially updated, is actually on the other side of the jungle biome, which again is over to the left. Sadly though, what is really annoying is that even though there is, with this world, even though there's a mansion within about 2,000 blocks of my initial spawn, 2,000 or 3,000, there's actually no witch farms. The witch farm I need is about another 3,000 blocks in that direction, or 3,000 blocks in that direction from my house, 3,000 or 4,000. So actually, I have no access to a witch farm yet, which is really annoying considering I'm using a ton of redstone, and I actually really need to get my iron farm going again, because even though it's 12 or 16 rails per one crafting of the recipe for iron, I'm using up tons of iron considering I'm building 4 sets of rails. And that slime storage area that I built took up so much iron. It was insane. Yeah, so yeah, this is my most insane build. But I kind of set my goal on that to begin with. When I built this, I decided to go for as crazy as I could for building. Whether that meant an oversized slime farm or iron farm or whatever, I went the most insane that I could build without going into heavy tutorials to build like a 64 farm iron titan or whatever. Now, that being said, this next farm is actually where I started to cheat a little bit in my building. Normally, I don't cheat with my building. I build it completely with the materials I have without using up anything from command codes or whatnot. That being said, because of how much stuff was needed for this farm up ahead, I actually started using command codes to fill in areas with what was prismarine blocks. And when you, well, you can start seeing it now. When you actually realize the scale of this place, you can kind of understand why I did not care just to keep on laying down layer after layer after layer, with the farm being the slowing point to my how much I could actually start producing. And we are now entering the outermost edges of my Guardian farm. This thing is massive, being over 250 blocks on a side, going down to a Y level of 11, and then all the way up to the ocean height. We'll exit, we'll sleep, and then we'll continue the tour. As you can tell, this is where my entrance is from the Nether. And this area is actually going to be, this area could have its own several sets of bases compared to what we're seeing. But this is the Guardian farm. I've only shared it with my friends on social media, so this isn't on DeviantArt at yet all. But it is just a massive structure. And all it is built around this tiny little farm right here. This is the AFK point where I will stand if I need to AFK for any of the items. You can actually ride these down while being standing in the direct center. And then I will show those areas real quickly, but that's how you end up getting to the AFK area. And then this is the area where you spawn the Guardians. Let's go over to creative. That way I can actually get some spawns in here. Creative. Because stuff doesn't spawn in when you're in spectator. But basically, I'm using 4 different tubes that travel and bring all the Guardians here, lights them on fire, and then drops them to the death. They don't last long after they're in there. Like a couple seconds at most. As you can tell. Then it collects up the items, because those are actually just half slabs, and sends them flying all the way to my storage system over there. This area is several different layers, and it was supposed to be kind of a tiered staircase, is the effect I was going for. And when I take pictures of it, it always looks way too flat. Yet, it's massive, and it drops so far down that it's kind of crazy. And you don't realize how big it is until you are in it. That's an interesting effect. You don't realize how massive this thing is until you are in it. And the thing is, this goes all the way down to the seafloor. These are solid layers. So that is why I ended up just start using command codes and just start putting in layers after layers after layers. So, like, I don't want to be here till next Christmas building it. And this thing already took a month alone. It took a month alone to completely remove the temple itself, to build all this stuff up, and then build all these layers on top of it. And I actually individually placed all these layers on top of the capstones, basically. All these capstones that cover it. And then I actually digged it out and completed the rail system. So it actually there was a whole much more work that I did that you're not seeing. I removed 2 islands around the outer edges, over there, just for this entire thing to be built. And as you can see on the inside, and this is by no means complete yet, even now, I actually have a rail system so you can actually get around the entire thing. The reason I say it's not complete is this still has to be able to exit outside on each of the 4 sides. So yeah, this is the Guardian farm. It is unbelievably massive. It is extremely overkill for the decorations. And it is my favorite project I have ever built. It has scale to it that I've never built before. Might also add, now that, because we're in 14 points, in update 14, I can actually replace all these stairs with the actual edges to the rail system that I normally use. Yeah, this was fun. It was also interesting enough, after I got finished this, I actually got my upgraded graphics card, or my first graphics card. So everything I built in this world and in the first world up till now was entirely built without a graphics card. So yeah, you can build quite a bit in Minecraft, but without a graphics card, eventually stuff like this is going to start lagging you out. Can't be helped, but it is life. Anyway, to our last area, and as you can tell, this rail system right here is nowhere near complete. Admittedly, those rail systems over there don't have their support structures, but that's because I have never got around to actually designing one that's going to travel over the ocean easily. We are almost at the area I actually had to pause for, because this is where my most recent project is. Now, you noticed I grabbed all 3 of my tridents, and I didn't show it off, but I actually have a 4th trident that's not been fixed yet, or given enchantments. This is actually what I'm going to be working on right now, on my next project, before I take pictures and update it to DeviantArt. Is a trident farm. This is where my trident farm is. It's completely out of range of my guardian farm, so you can no longer see it. It is just in the beginning stages right now. Nowhere near complete. And this is, as you can see, where I keep all my extra storage when I'm transporting stuff around. It is going to be a massive farm. The design of the farm is actually relatively simple, based off normal the normal AI of your drowned. Drowned, like zombies, move always towards a villager. They want to infect them, change them, turn them into themselves. Normal zombie behavior. But because of this, you can actually use the AI's programming to your advantage. They will move towards the villager, then get caught up by a bunch of soul sand bubbles, and be sent straight up to wherever you want to kill them. Which in my case is going to be way up here at my AFK spot. Whoop, 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 whoop. Come on. We're almost up top. Which will be way up here. That way I'm only loading in the farm itself, or a little bit around it, keeping the spawns down. And then I will be killing them up here, away from the villager, and I will be getting, hopefully, a bunch more tridents. At this point, I don't really need any more tridents, since I have the 3 major ones you can get, which is impaling your riptide and your channeling. However, that being said, I did say I'd make all my crazy farms, and this is one of them. Now, this rail is actually going to go, which, as you can see, is nowhere near complete yet. Oh. I'm not sure if I've ever been to that, but I'll have to explore that a little bit. This rail actually is going to go off towards the coral sections of that are spawned in. So there's going to be a warm sea up over here. There's going to be the witch farm, and finally there's also going to be the end fortress is actually going to be over here as well. when I'm actually going to get to them, considering all the other projects I have on top of it, I don't know yet. But that's my current plan. Hello, zombie. Have I been to this one yet? I actually don't think I have. Well, yeah, that is... cool. No, I have not been here. Get a little bit of air. But yeah, this is the current world. It is by no means the most insanely built world ever. I mean, there are worlds that easily outclass mine, even private worlds. But it is the world that I had a fun time building. It could be much better. There are things that I could redo that would make it exceptionally better built. But for now, I'm a happy camper. And for that, I'll leave you guys till this afternoon when I stream from some of my emulators. Bye for now.